Dune Part One is finally a good book adaptation. Dune Part Two is coming out very soon, so we thought it well timed to review Dune Part One. And frankly, this is a pretty great book adaptation. This, I don't, starting off with things I don't like. It's pretty minor, but there's just a minor inconsistency with an element in the movie called the Chris knife. It's a little bit inconsistent about when it has to draw blood or not, but other than that, and that's a super minor gripe, by the way. Like that's the only like pretty much the only thing I found wrong with this movie. Other than that, I would say this movie's fantastic.
Yeah, we're never gonna get and now I know, with this, we're never gonna get a
100%. Yeah.
direct book to screen adaptation. It's never going to happen
We don't need one.
just because it's impossible.
Exactly.
There's always gonna be liberties taken. Even Lord of the Rings, which Griff and we agree, they're phenomenal movies. You
So good.
can't sit here and talk about those movies in any bad way. But even the Tolkien estate was like, they weren't, there's just always going to be a liberty taken or something that's changed because it's an adaptation. It's not
Hmm.
a direct copy. But I do agree with Griff. This is, if not the most faithful book to screen adaptation, definitely one of the best.
It's
Up there
pro-
with Lord of the Rings.
it's
I
probably the
really
best
liked
we could
it.
ever get for Dune, honestly. I don't think it can get any better than this.
Oh, it's extremely. I remember when they pitched it, I'm like, oh, they're gonna fuck that up again. And Denis is a great filmmaker. But it's just as Griff said, it's a hard book to even it's a hard book to read. So reading that and then thinking, because I've read the book, man, throughout my life maybe 4 or 6 times. And there is a old David Lynch movie. And I saw that as a kid and I'm like, so when they announced this one, of course, I was like, they're gonna screw that up again. But when I heard he was doing it in two parts, I was at least curious. And I remember
Hmm.
when this movie came out, it came out during pandemic. The cast, first of all, is just phenomenal. Everyone in here is who I envisioned. Well, not everyone, but 90% of the cast is who I envisioned. Like Oscar Isaac is Duke Leto Atreides
Fantastic
to me.
casting.
That is Rebecca Ferguson is Lady Jessica. Timothy Chalamet, yes, he doesn't look 15, but
We expect him to look 15.
he is Paul Atreides, man. Josh Brolin as Gurney is I just because I saw the David Lynch movie and it's the dude that plays Professor Xavier and from Star Trek, and I just never, put those two together.
I don't see that.
Um, I love everyone in the cast. I love Dave Bautista's Beast Reborn. I just and the visuals in this movie
Are so good.
are what I envisioned when I read the books. I just it's the cinematography here is gorgeous. I just absolutely love everything about this movie up until now because we haven't seen Dune Part Two yet. It's it's one of my favorite science fiction movies. It's definitely, and I told Griff this, the first book. It's my favorite science fiction book. It's just a beautiful book. It spins off into a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll talk about at some point, but the first book is just great. So this movie, it took me a while to get Griffin to watch it.
I've been waiting. Okay, there's a reason. I didn't see it during the pandemic, but I've been waiting because I knew I was gonna see part two. So I was waiting as long as I can to watch it right before part two, and I did. But I think this movie is as good as we're ever going to get for a Dune book adaptation, and probably for any book adaptation. The only things really missing that the book does is just the inner monologues, because there are a lot of inner monologues in the book, and they are powerful stuff. We got glimpses of it during the movie for a few lines, but it doesn't really translate well from page to screen to. But this is as near as you can get. It is so well done. On top of everything that Edward just said, I'm just gonna hit this again. Just the actors. This is as star-studded as a cast as you can ever get, and they're all amazing fantastic acting all around. There's no bad acting, no bad dialogue. Every line has a purpose. It is perfect.
Every set is gorgeous too. Every
True.
every time they're in a room, I'm like,
Yeah, it looks
they built that.
so good.
That was that you
Practical
can
sets.
see the craftsmanship in every set, even when it's just like a small table, and I'm like, God, man, someone really did. They spent that's art. You know,
Yeah,
like when you're looking like at the worm mural and just the worms, man. It's
yeah. And
this
there's,
movie had to be made in this time.
I agree. And there's also, that's why kind of why I failed in the 80s. One of the reasons. And there's a lot of like Easter eggs and small references that make sense in the movie, but reading the book adds another layer to it, like especially with the bull and the grandfather Atreides. There's like a lot of small things like that, but one thing we haven't touched on yet is the use of the sound effects and the music, just completely out of this world. It completely cements you on Arrakis. The sound effects are just incredibly well done. The vocals, like when Paul uses the voice, when the Reverend Mother walks, it's just all so good and so powerful that it draws you in, and it does such a good job of it that you don't question a single thing for a moment. This is probably like one of the most science fiction stories out there, probably as far out science fiction as you can get. Yet all of it seems so realistic, so grounded, and just well done.
Yeah. One of the things that the book did so well was that when you are in one of the individual different planets, it really did a great job of, painting that picture. And one of the things the movie does so well is when you are in Caladan, Arrakis, or Giddy Prime, it you can tell right away, oh, you're in a different planet. Like that's not, they're so
Easily.
different visually from one another. Um, that you could tell immediately, even people who haven't read the books or it's their first time watching. Because I've seen the movie with people that it's their first time, and they're like, "That's a totally different world, dude." And I'm like, "Yep,
Yeah.
100%."
It's just so
And
well designed.
the the villains, the you could tell, visually who's good, who's bad, who's got
Yeah.
good or bad intentions, who's got ulterior motives. The Reverend Mother, um, I she's a great actress. I love the scene with her and Paul with the Gunja bar. I love the pronunciation of these words. And I know in the movie they pronounce certain things a certain way. I don't care about the movie. I'm still gonna say Harkonnens. I don't mean to talk bad about David Lynch. He's done some great stuff, but as Griff said, the whole thing about Paul's grandfather, the bull, that's not even there.
Yeah.
And I've seen that movie enough times to know that's not even there, and that's one of the problems with it. They crammed the entire book into one movie, and you feel it.
It's a long book too.
Um, the whole Bene Gesserit, sisterhood and what they've been doing for the last 600 to 700 years and, things like that, and when they arrive to Caladan to that whole scene with him putting his hand in the box, man, it's done completely different here than it is in the Lynch movie, and Timothy's emotion sells the whole thing. Because in the David Lynch movie, they do some like some special effects so you could see what's going on in his hand. Here, it's all in his face. It's like what's going on is it's all here, and I thought that was awesome. And he would have moved, she would have whacked him.
Yeah. And honestly,
Um,
they couldn't have gotten a better actor for it. I think Timothy Chalamet is one of the best actors of his generation for sure. And I don't
that
think
kid's
there's a
phenomenal.
single person in this generation of actors that
I
could do what
remember
he
the
did.
scene that sold me that he was Paul Atreides was they released this. It was an official photo from the movie, and it's him on Caladan wearing that long black coat, walking his long hair. That was it. And then friends of mine who were big into the book, they were like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's Paul Atreides to me, man. That's
It
100%
clicked.
Paul Atreides." The suits are awesome. Even Jason Momoa is really
It's
good
just
in this movie.
surprising.
He was amazing. I bought him as Duncan Idaho
Yeah.
100%.
He was fantastic. And the action, which we don't surprisingly we haven't touched about, the action's fantastic. It's just
What is your
there's
favorite? scene and favorite character from the movie? Because I know it differs a bit from the book.
It's I think it's definitely Paul being tested. That or no, no, I think it's that. I think that was just so well done with everyone, with the use of the voice from the Reverend Mother, with the lack of visuals, as you said, the acting of Timothy Chalamet, like him inspecting his hand for damage, straight out of the book. It was just so well done. The nervousness of his mother, Jessica, and like her essentially just repeating her mantra to herself over and over and over again, like fear is the weakness of the mind, fear is the mind killer. That scene could not have been done any better.
But she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Rebecca is just yeah.
Was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is a very small scene, but it's Paul and Duke Leto Atreides on Caladan, and you know they're having that discussion where Paul doesn't want to lead, and
Mhm.
Leto tells him, you
It's
know,
so true
I didn't
too.
want to lead either. Your grandfather didn't want to do it, but the part where he's like, well, what if I don't live up to essentially what you want? He was like, if you're my son, you're I'll ever need you to be. I thought that was very endearing.
Yeah.
I thought that shows how much Leto loves him more as a son than as, you know, as his heir. And my
Yeah.
favorite casting of this is Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck. I thought that was
Yeah,
he's
I
such a
mean,
hard ass battle driven warrior, but he's so loyal to Luke to Leto,
I mean,
and
Star
the way
Wars
he
is based off
trains,
of
you know,
Dune.
that training session with Paul,
I was about
where
to
he's
say,
like,
yeah, about
"What's the
mood.
mood got to do with it? You fight because the necessity arrives, and that's it." I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to spoil the scene, but one of the like very last scenes where you see Paul flip that switch in his mind when with the Fremen, I thought that was also well done.
Oh yeah, we
I
haven't
just
even talked about the Fremen, but awesomely cast as well.
great cast. I love the blue eyes. The still
Oh yeah,
suits
that's
are
awesome.
amazing. It's just and I can't believe that so far it sounds like the second one's even better than this one, just because it sounds just from how we're talking impossible to top, but somehow it seems like they did it, and I can't wait. I
Yeah, I
can't
can't wait
wait.
for it. That's also very it's a beautiful and gigantic cast as well. They even got Christopher Walken to be in this movie.
So many amazing people have been added
Florence
to this
Pugh,
cast.
just
Austin
yeah, I can't
Butler.
wait. I can't wait for Thursday night.
I'm excited to see Faye
Finally,
Raqua,
we're watching a
especially with
movie at the
Austin
same time.
Butler. Yeah, I know. For once, we're seeing the movie at the exact same time. I'm I'm ecstatic. I'm reading the book for the first time right now, and after like watching the movie, even though like I've like saw read most of what's happened and then I saw what happens next. I know there's going to be so much more in the book just because again, the inner dialogue. I just can't wait to go back to reading it. So if I mean if you can read the book, it's definitely very good.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't, you're not missing anything essential either. It just adds to it, but you don't need
No,
to read the book
I've had
to
several
add to the
friends
movie
now
whatsoever.
along with Griff. Well, Griff's had the opportunity to read through the book, but I have several friends. I do believe one of them is Kenny, who hadn't read the book, and he asked me, you know, when this movie was gonna come out, the first one, do I need to read the book first, or can I just? I was like, dude, I think you'll be fine. Just watch it. And he loves it. He hit me up today. I didn't have the opportunity to answer him back, but he was like, dude, I'm so excited for Dune 2. And again,
Yeah,
he's a dude that I don't know if now he's given himself the opportunity to go back and read the book, but he
he
went
hasn't
fresh
yet. I
in
talked to him about
and
it the other day.
he loved it. He thought this was just amazing. And it's I may piss some people off, but my final thoughts on this movie, it's Star Wars for grown-ups. And remember, I love Star Wars.
Star
But
Wars was
this is
based off of Dune. This is George
oh
Lucas's
yeah, heavily. Yeah,
inspiration,
George
no
stole a
question.
ton of shit.
Yeah,
Sorry, Star Wars fans, but it's true.
no, this is already shaping up to what it be one of my favorite books. I'm not even done yet, but it's amazing. This is, as Edward said, one of the best sci-fi movies ever. I'm so excited to review the second one for you guys. Let us know what you guys think about Dune Part One in the comments. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let us know who your favorite cast member was.
Take care, guys. Enjoy.